Hey guys, it is Robe Chronicle Tuesdays, and y'all know what today is. We're here to bring you another conversation raw, authentic, and today we're going to have fun. Listen, y'all, I have a very special guest with me today. And y'all, this woman has been in my life for some time now. Met her years ago, and she took me in her family, and it's been history ever since. So we're gonna jump right in today. The topic is the shit you don't talk about. And that's real.
Real.
That's real. Oh, to some, you may know her as Mrs. Darlene Simon, but this is my Mama D.
Oh, it is. No, I'm Mama D.
Mama D. There you go.
Mama D. We done.
Listen, so typically, y'all, when a guest tells me they want to come on the show, I do not allow them to tell me what they want to talk about.
But you gotta know me.
But I allow her giving this topic, and it is a deep topic, but it is stuff that we need to talk about because our Black community like to sweep the topic we're going to talk about, and I say the shit up under the rug.
That's the shit we don't talk about.
And the shit we don't talk about. So let's dive in, Mom.
Let's call a thing.
Let's call a thing a thing. So, abuse.
Both of us have experienced.
Yeah.
Two different generations.
Yeah.
Of experience. So you may want to go first, and I can.
Okay. So for those who don't know, my story of abuse stems from the tree of domestic violence. So my mom dealt with domestic violence, and long and short, when she wanted to get out of the relationship, it was just a little bit too late, and it ended up her perpetrator taking her life. But even in that, as a young kid, at like the age of 6 and 8, I witnessed her go through a lot of that abuse. And back then in the 90s, it was the horrible, in my opinion, the horrible mindset of what goes on in this house stays in this house. And unfortunately, being the older man that I am now, I'm just like, no, what went on in the house should have been said outside of the house, because maybe her life would have been saved.
And mainly by family members.
Yes.
That's the whole thing for me. Family members knowing that situation was going on and no one helped.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's still going on today.
Yeah.
But it's a little worse because mental illness is outrageous in this community, in our community.
Yes.
And we're sitting by and watching this happen.
Absolutely. And even if family know about it or if they have an inkling that it's going on, the question for me is, why didn't anybody say anything?
After the fact, we do.
Yeah. When it's too late.
That's when we're going to pull together and have so much to say. And everybody has a different story about what they knew about, but no one said anything because what happens stays in the family.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not good because I often go back to that 6-year-old, 7-year-old little boy, and now being 35, right? I'm like, I sometimes often have to go and talk to him to still heal that person, so I can heal who I am now.
But you're in this generation. We're gonna say 50 plus.
Okay.
50
okay. Plus. And look good in my
ass. And I'm still feeling the same way.
Yeah. So what did that look like for you coming from your generation? Because like you said, we two different generations. So what does that look like
for
you?
So in my generation, that was just the norm. If that took place in your household, that's the norm. Because women back then, in the 60s and 50s, they took that and that was okay.
Yeah.
That's just the way of life.
Yeah.
You know, you a stay-at-home mom. Whatever your husband did, he provided for you and your children. You keep your mouth closed. That's what you do. You take that abuse. But I remember one day when it was really happening and it was just too much for me and I was very nervous. I remember getting on the phone, calling my aunt and saying to her, my father's beating my mother so bad. Can somebody come and help? And her response was, what do you mean?
Wow.
What do you mean? He's beating her so bad where I don't think she's going to live. Can somebody come help and make him stop? Well, I don't think that's the case. Your father wouldn't do that. But this is not the first time. You
Right.
know that he has his problem.
So you are witnessing it, and she's dismissing it.
She's dismissing it over the
Wow.
phone. And in the background, mind you, you could hear it.
Yeah.
And I'm crying.
Yeah.
Pretty much begging her to come help. But that didn't come. The help didn't come. But what did come, I was in trouble for making that call.
Wow.
I was in trouble because I wanted someone to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
So from that point on, I was like, we're on our own here as children. We're on our own. So whatever happens, it happens. So if I witness to the point where my mother is going to be killed by my father, I'm on my own. Because the family's not going to do it. But y'all know that he is doing this.
Right.
And none of y'all are stepping up.
How did your other siblings maneuver through that with you?
The same way. They felt the same way, like, why isn't anybody helping on his side? But my older two siblings knew that that family, my father's side of the family, was very dysfunctional.
Yeah.
And that they were also afraid of him. Because now we're talking about what is going on with each other. And some of the stories that I hear from my older brother, he was like, don't you remember when our father beat our uncle and then he stopped coming to the house?
So he was not only abusive to your mom, but to his family as well.
Yeah.
Wow, so this was a learned trait.
Right.
And see, that's another thing from my experience, right? Because a lot of people sometimes try to associate my dad, because my mom and dad was married at one point. I'm like, no, the guy who she was married with was not my father. However, although my mom and dad were divorced but had a good friendship and he was in our household, having that male presence in the household, it could have been a learned behavior for me. So thank God my dad was still in my life, because growing up, I had to really work hard, not portraying that and giving that energy and that anger out, even in high school, because I used to be a hothead. I'm like, I'll fight you, I'll do this stuff, and I can think about something, I'm like, oh no, I can't do that. Because I think
because you still can go there. You still working in progress.
Listen.
Still working on it.
Yes, don't get
because let somebody say they did something to me.
Listen. I don't play no games about my family.
Yeah, I know all this,
yes. So, but yeah, I had to really work hard at not being that person, because it is learned behavior, and unfortunately it goes from generation to generation.
And you saying that, I have 3 brothers. Out of those 3 brothers, one of them took the trade on me.
Wow.
He took the trade on me.
Wow.
But he was also the one who had the most abuse done to him. And so he took that trait on. And now we as siblings always warn the women in his life, because we're like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I recall my older brother saying to one of the girls, this is not something you want to get into.
Yeah.
That's my brother. I love him. But this is not something that you want to get into. You need to leave him. You need to not be with him.
Before it's too late.
Yeah. I'm telling you. And they were like, oh, no, And that's the other side. It's the shit you don't want to hear.
Yeah.
You don't want to hear because you think this person is going to be gold. And then later on, you're like, I should have listened to the brother because the brother did warn me. But some families are going to be, I told you so. But we weren't that family.
Right.
Like, we were like, yeah, we understand. You need to do this, this, and this to get away from him.
And the question I always have, Ma, is, especially with you being a generation or two ahead of me, and knowing that we millennials, me and Wara and Don, we in the same generation, is even still back from then back to us. Why is it that why is it that this is the shit we don't want to talk about? Why? We are losing people. We are having damaged kids who are being abused physically, mentally, sexually, but we don't want to talk about it. Even, we were talking about some things that go on here in the school, and I'm just like, this is sexual abuse going on with some of these kids. And it's like, why don't we want to talk about it? Like, what is that in the Black family and in the Black community? That is a question I have had since my mom has transitioned.
Right.
Like, why do we want to talk about it? Even, still now with certain family members, it's very taboo when we dig in the history of how my mom became about. I'm like, why are we not talking about it? She's dead now.
Right.
She's gone.
Right.
Like, she's gone. We can talk about it so we can understand where the hell we come from.
But you still have family members that think you don't do that. You're being disrespectful.
Yeah.
Why would you say something like that? The truth is the truth.
Period.
How you get it, you may not like it.
Right.
How it comes, if it comes on social media, if it comes through a letter, if it comes face to face, the truth is the truth. It's the light of the matter. You're not going to stop it.
Yeah.
Day happens, the sun goes down in the dark.
When we were building the foundation and the gala and stuff, Dee was pushing me to write a book about my mom's story from my perspective. And I literally had family members like, can we talk about this? What's going to be in the book? So my thing is, if nothing was done shady, on the back end for things that we don't know, why are you pressuring what's going to be in the book? What truth are y'all omitting that we may not know?
Right.
Like, what are y'all hiding? Like, we gotta talk about this shit. And my thing is, it's okay.
It is, and you're going to be better off if you talk about it.
It's okay
if you work through some of this. But the family members who just, to me, they honor the fact that person is doing it. Like, I'm calling you my son.
Yeah.
I know you're doing something to Dee. My thing is not to go to Dee first and say, well, what are you doing to make him act that way? My thing is, Leslie, this is what I see. This is what I'm seeing. It's nothing that nobody else told me.
Right.
This is what I'm seeing. And I just need to know, why are you doing this? Why are you acting like this? You may need to get a little help.
Yeah.
Now, when you tell me there's nothing wrong with you and you don't want to get no help, I need to talk to Dee.
Yeah.
And say, Dee, you need to get away from him because he's not right. He's not right. You have to get your own help so that you have the tools to deal with him because he's not acknowledging the fact that something is going on with himself. And you can't change a person.
Yeah.
Person has to want to change themselves.
Absolutely. And I love that we're having this conversation because a lot of times people in your generation, they get caught in that cycle and cannot and don't and are not willing to have this conversation with the millennial generation because we think different. And you have people that's coming behind us, Gen Z, them motherfuckers crazy. Then you got people lining them into the whole generation, coming up in their generation. So it's like, to be able to have this conversation, everybody from your generation, and to this day, it's still not over. Well, we gotta break those barriers. So, because guess what? Your experience and your mindset is different from ours, but I can learn something. I'm like, what? Mama D said something in this conversation that I probably can now use in my healing.
Exactly.
Right? Because people think that once you don't work through something, you've done this and you've done that, healing is until you leave this earth. And go to the next life.
Exactly.
And people don't see that. And I'm like, y'all, I'm still working on my healing. There's still days that I retreat back to that little boy life.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. You said it in the open statement about being that young boy. I'm still a young girl. That's my thing. It's the children.
Yeah.
When you have that trauma happen as a child, and nobody ever deals with that trauma with you, or you don't deal with it when you're at a certain age, it carries on to the next generation. And that's my concern. I'm always saying, with my grandchildren, they need to get the help that they need.
Yeah.
They need to get the help that they need.
Yeah.
Because I don't want them to be that child at 50 plus some years, still being that girl when certain things, smells trigger you all.
Yeah.
Certain events trigger you all. Certain people, voices trigger you all. I know that I was in the store one day and I would put this on Facebook. A woman came in and she smelled of Gina Tay. That was like one of the aunts that would not help. That was that smell. And that lasted for a whole week with me. Just reoccurring events that happened as a child that weren't good because of that smell.
Yeah.
because of that Gina Tails. Like, do they even sell it anymore?
Mhm.
But this lady, I could see her. I could go back to the events where certain things happened when she came to our house. How she caused a lot of friction.
Mhm.
I was like, wow.
Mhm.
I'm this age and I still getting that little knot in my stomach
Same.
from that.
Same. Like when I see people, and I don't talk about it often. When I see the car, a Mustang car,
Mm-hmm.
that's a trigger for me. And because when mom came up missing,
Mm-hmm.
whatever he did to try to clean up everything, her car had like this very strong smell of like a cleaning product. So when I see any kind of Mustang, I'm like, I can smell it as if I walked to the car in,
Yes.
in '98,
Yes.
and I just be like, snap out of it.
Right.
But people don't understand that. It's just like those are healing traumas that you like, okay, if I see a car like that, I can't, okay, no matter what kind of model it is, I see just the name Mustang, I'd be like, I go all the way back
Mm-hmm.
to that little boy who was at home by himself with a 4-year-old, grandparents out of state, having a good time, calling, this is what's going on. I go all the way back to that moment.
Yes.
And I'd be like, snap out of it. And it's just like, sometimes I'm like, therapy and stuff is good. I started therapy and, but it's just like, can somebody ever relate to what that was when I was there in that moment?
Because we don't talk about this shit. How you gonna know? But now we're talking about it. And we both have, and we have a big age
gap.
Right. But we feeling the same thing.
Yeah.
And my thing is we got to stop so that the children don't have the same conversation down the line, 20, 30 years. They might be floating on hoverboards by then. I don't know. But hey. Doing a podcast about the shit we don't talk about in our community.
But I like something you said when you about Lonnie and Queen and June, because I'm doing the same thing, and Dee and I are doing the same thing with our nieces and nephews, because now they're getting of age and they're asking me, what happened to grandma?
Right.
And I'm like, telling my sister too, we gotta find a way to break it down so they can understand on where their mentally is right now. And I said, this is going to be a growing conversation.
Right.
So when they get to the older age and say, hey, your grandmother was murdered because of this.
Right.
But now they want to know, because see, they at home now, they got ash, or they got iron at home, and they was like, this is your grandmother. What happened? And they understand it and they process in depth when they 5 and 7 years old and they already losing grandparents because of COVID and other. So it's just like you cannot hide it like they did in your generation, my generation. It's like you got to tell these kids so they can walk in healing.
And when does it stop?
Yeah.
Unless you keep speaking on it.
Yes.
And consequences happen. People gotta have consequences for the actions of what they're doing. And we're not saying just women. It happens to men too.
Oh my God.
Men go through it too.
Oh my God. I think during the gala the first year was the first time I kind of realized that men go through it. And I literally had somebody that was like, I know this woman came and she beats on her husband. I was like,
yes.
And he don't want to leave because he raised in the area, which is still true, I believe. A man don't hit on a woman.
Right.
But I'm just like, women, we gotta understand. We don't want to talk about it. What do you do when a woman puts herself in that position and the man snaps? We don't like having that conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
And I find when it happens to men, people think it's funny. Like, how you gonna let that happen? Because he is a decent man. He doesn't want to strike back. He may have watched something in his childhood that causes him not to do that.
Yeah.
Don't just laugh at the situation. You have to understand the person.
Yes, absolutely.
You have to get to know the background of the person before you start doing judgment on the whole situation.
Yeah.
You don't know what type of man this is. But you judging the fact that, he didn't strike back.
Absolutely. And from your perspective, being more wise, because I'm still learning, and people think I got it because I done a gala and I'm doing stuff over here. And my mom think I got it all here. I'm like, y'all don't know the half. I'm still healing and learning.
Right.
Going. But what advice would you give an outsider who is seeing somebody going through abuse? Any kind of abuse?
Let them know that you know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they may not be receptive of what you're saying. They shouldn't.
Yeah.
But don't stop.
Mm-hmm.
Let them know.
Yeah.
A simple thing as if they have children, you take the children and you just take them out.
Yeah.
Just so they don't be in the environment.
Yeah.
You don't ask questions. You don't question the children. You don't find out, well, how you mama did this?
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that. That's not that, because that's not helping.
Yeah.
That's not helping.
Yeah.
Just let them be a child for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
So when they go back to that chaos,
Mm-hmm.
they can look back on, I went to have dinner, I went somewhere, I went to an arcade, I went to a play, I did something.
Mm-hmm.
I had fun,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have to just think about this chaos that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So do something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you should not communicate with the person.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
Keep it going. Be natural with it.
Yeah. Be natural. How you doing? I'm the same guy. Nice seeing you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, call me if you need me.
Yeah.
Drop something off for them.
Mm-hmm.
Give them something.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they act funny with you, just keep so you can see.
Yeah.
So you can be that reporter.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So when it's all over and they're okay, they can come to you, and all you need to do is just give them a hug,
Mm-hmm.
tell them you never forgot about them, and they matter.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. People don't feel like they matter to nobody when they're going through this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you matter. You do.
Yeah.
You are someone.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And people do respect you whether you believe it or not.
Absolutely. I love it. I'm going to brand the show real quick. If you are just tuning in, please like and share the post. This is an amazing conversation. My special guest is Miss Darlene Simon on Facebook. If you like to follow her, aka Mama D. And we are talking about the shit we don't like to talk about. We don't like to talk about it. I love it. I love it. This is a really healing conversation for me, because often I don't share. I don't share because, and he gets it a lot, and he sees it, because with my mom, we've been on national TV, and we'll literally get somebody to walk up to us and, oh my God, you look familiar. I see you on Code just enough. Like, I don't feel like this shit today, but you can't be rude to people, right? And I've had to work on it. I'm like, well, I don't feel like this shit today, because they're gonna want to talk. They're gonna want to go through it. Oh, baby, I see you, and my heart go out, and I appreciate it. But it's just like, we are walking in healing, and to go back to that, it's always so draining. But I found in my recent years that sometimes it's necessary, because it's something in that situation, even though I'm still walking the healing, that I miss, I can go back and grab, add to the healing list. So it's a lot, and I'm honored to be having this conversation, because a lot of the times we don't. I mean, my dad, we are very open about it, and he'll share things, about my mom's life and his life, that I probably missed or didn't know, or situations that happened in the family. He's like, your grandparents didn't want to tell you this, and they treated me like this. And I'm like, wow. So, it just wasn't, you were even dealing with a form of abuse, being just married to my mom, because my grandmama didn't want you to be married to her. And I'm just like, geez. So I appreciate those conversations and, and things like that. So.
Okay, so what could you do to start the healing process? One of the things is self-care. If you don't want to say something to someone else, say it to yourself.
Yeah.
Look in the mirror and just say it. You gotta be upfront and just say it. A person is who they are. You gotta say that.
Yeah.
And I have nothing to do with it. I have nothing to do with it. Even with my own husband. And I can be like, how you gonna deal with him? He could be very abusive with his words. But for me, because I grew up with more than that, that was nothing. That was like the icing on the cake. I
Mhm.
don't care about what he's saying.
That was just him being him.
That was, I don't care. That doesn't do anything
Mhm.
for me because I'm gonna still be me.
Mhm.
But at times when it's hard, yes, it was very hard. But I used to have to say to myself, and I remember one time, Jordan and Emily were young, and I was just going through some stuff, and he was not the person. He was not affectionate. He was not understanding. I don't know what it was, but I was going through something. And I had a good cry in the shower. And my mother had been there for some time. And she came to me. And she said, baby, him being how he is don't have nothing to do with you.
Mhm.
You gotta be you.
Yeah.
And what you have to do is you have to tune that out.
Mhm.
So when he's like that, you do you.
Yeah.
You do you.
Mhm.
So I had to start looking in the mirror and saying, Keon is an asshole right now. It don't have nothing to do with me. It don't have nothing
That's
to do with me.
real.
How he showed his ass
Yeah.
does not have anything to do with me.
Daddy was rough.
Yes,
He
very
was.
rough.
He
And
was.
from there, I just started getting stronger
Mhm.
and stronger and stronger and doing things for myself.
Mhm.
But then do take baby steps.
Yep.
Do little things.
Yep. Yep.
One of my things was I didn't know how to drive. I got to driving.
Mhm. Mhm.
I got to drive.
And I'm glad you said that because see that stuff. Let me tell you something. Y'all Jesus jokers out here. Oh, I'm gonna get my nails done. I'm gonna get my hair did. That is not the essence of self-care. That's self-maintenance, which is a form of self-care. But self-care is doing something like that. You know what? I don't know how to drive. I'm gonna teach myself how to drive, or I'm gonna learn how to drive. Or you know what? Like I was telling, we was talking yesterday. You like, Wes, you okay, baby? I said, I'm good. I'm just. I need to be doing stuff for diverse inclusion. I need to be putting together some stuff for some clients. But right now, I'm at peace.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm self-healing right now.
Right.
I'm away from my norm. He's away from his norm. Our life been crazy, nothing bad, but you know, just highways and byways of life. Yeah, just a little bit crazy. But I'm just like, I get to that shit when I get back home, and I can piece it together. I got in my mind what things look like, but I'm in my peace. I'm healing right now. Going away, learning how to travel, learning how to be better. You know, like just we've been talking about just getting end of life things situated. Right. For me, that's self-care because I don't want to leave him in a bad state of self-care when I go. At least we know the front end shit is together, right? He can deal with the grief on the back end. Right. But like I'm like, no, this is self-care. I'm not dealing with that. I'm healing. Mm-hmm. When I get back to Nashville on Monday,
you deal with everything else.
I deal with everything else then. Right. And it probably be too.
Because baby, nobody else will come.
And they're going to come.
And they're going to come. And they're going to say, oh, we'll do when you're there too.
Yep.
Okay. All right, get it. Y'all get it how you can get it because I'm going.
Yeah. So people, listen, learn to really understand what self-care is about. I had one of my good sisters, Monique, she went to a women's conference. And the speaker told them, they was like, listen, especially for single moms, going to get your nails done, going to get your hair did, going to the grocery store to get away from kids. And she was like, you got to y'all wrong. And when she was sharing this with me, I was like, damn.
Yeah, you got to do little things that show your growth.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But there could be something so small.
So small.
Like everybody takes for granted, but no. I taught myself how to drive.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't teach myself. My good friend Rebecca, she said, I started walking. We walked in the park. And then she just said, girl, get in this car. I was like, no. She said, but you want to learn how to drive. Mm-hmm. We drove around City Park. I said, damn, this feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to drive.
Yeah.
My other friend, she wanted me. She got that license, came back. I said, oh, it's on and popping now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Started taking classes.
Mm-hmm.
Started doing stuff that was going to help my growth.
Yep. And something for you.
Yeah.
Something for you. Mm-hmm. Right? I told D this year, because he's always a big one of his gifts is have the ability to help others grow. And I said, babe, he was talking, I stopped and said, I get that and I appreciate that. You do a lot for me. A
Mhm.
lot of people say all the time they see me and say I spoiled him, but I'm like, hey,
You know, I'm here to tell y'all,
listen.
that's not the story. My baby
Don't give him all that.
baby
I already told you I leave his ass here with you.
can. And I keep telling you that it's not a threat. Stop threatening that.
I leave his ass here. But I told him, I said, I'm well taken care of. I don't have no problem. But I told him this year, I said, I appreciate that. We was sitting at home. He was standing in front of me. I was sitting on the back of the couch. I said, I appreciate you. That's not what I want to do this year. What I want to do is A, B, C, and D. I said, what about you? I said, you have this in you. I need you to pursue that this year. Don't worry about me. Don't push that on me because I'm not in that season. But you are. It's been your time. So I'm pushing him because I'm like, you need that for you.
That's right.
Yeah, you need that for you. Y'all, he behind the camera.
And so when Aziva said that, you better run with it. Baby, you know that window ahead. We're going to open up that wide.
It's real small.
We're going to let a little sunshine in. Because Aziva will. Maybe close that window a little bit so much light on,
You don't do all that.
I'm going to open it back up for you.
See, but yeah, y'all gotta self-heal, y'all. And this conversation, although we're making light of it, it's a real conversation. And you gotta learn how to have these conversations with your family, with your kids, and just, understand. And if you don't know how to have those conversations, know that therapy is okay, right? Know that even if it's just to learn how to have the essence of the conversation, therapy is okay. Go and get help. There's conversations out here. If you know people that are being abused, it's organizations out here. It's different programs and everything to get people help in this arena. And if you are needing somebody to speak to, help is available today. National Domestic Violence Hotline number is 800-799-7233. Again, that's 800-799-7233. Do not be in a situation or know that somebody is in a situation and don't at least try to lead them to help. Because one thing I learned in this journey is that you can lead them,
but they don't have to take it.
They don't have to take it. And if they don't take it, it's not your place to get upset.
It's not. Maybe it's your place to just be supportive for however they come to you. Just be supportive. Sometimes you just have to keep your mouth closed.
Oh, yeah.
You have to just listen. Listen. Do not speak. Just listen. And then sometimes you just have to tell them, if you need a minute, I got you.
And don't be the person say, I told you so. Don't be that person. Don't be that person. Yes. And if you're on your phone, if you need to contact the Domestic Violence Hotline, if you can't reach them verbally, text them start at 88788. You can get that as well to the Domestic Violence National Hotline as well. But yeah, just y'all don't be that person. Be the person to lead somebody to help, whether it's physical abuse, mental abuse, verbal. It don't matter. Abuse is abuse.
Yeah.
Period. And we gotta stop sweeping this shit under a rug.
And stop standing by. I don't care if it's your sister, your brother, your daddy, your uncle, your cousin. Call them out on this stuff.
Yeah.
Call them out on their shit. Don't uphold it. Don't defend it. Don't run to their aid.
Yeah.
Call them out.
Because what you
that doesn't mean you don't love them.
Yeah.
That don't mean you don't care about them.
Yeah.
That don't mean you're not respecting them.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean those things. And it doesn't mean that you're not a family.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're still gonna be a family. You're still gonna be close. But you have to call them out on what they're doing wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Because in the long run, you could be saving a life.
And think about the children.
Yeah. Could be saving a life. From death, from molestation, all that pain and stuff people carry about that, you could be saving a life. Girl, this conversation has been something I needed. I needed it. Listen, I'm taking you a drink. y'all, this conversation is special to me because for a lot of reasons. And the one part she didn't know I was going to do, but this is a surprise of me from me to her. But it is Mardi Gras. Y'all can see I got my little lights on, and we've been out, baby, at the parade.
I just came off the float.
She floating.
Oh, yes.
And as you can see behind us, you see an outfit of African Indian. I'm sorry. A suit. Excuse me. See, I'm being corrected. I'm still learning. But yes, this is a suit of an African Indian, and this is one of the traditions they do during the Mardi Gras season, where the Indians come out and they do their whole shebang and their own traditions and sing songs and talk shit to one another and all type of stuff. And it's an experience to see. And a lot of these jewels you see here, this whole suit is handmade, and she has a lot. She has a lot to do with these, like the beading, all this stuff, y'all, is hand done. And so, as you can see, it's a lot of love and care, detailed work, as you can see, that goes into this. So, you have never been to Mardi Gras?
Come on down, baby. Come on
down. But I want to, in the spirit of Mardi Gras and us being together, right? Because we don't always get to see each other.
Yes.
But when we do, it's a time. But today, I want to dedicate this Robe Chronicles to Auntie Deborah and Daddy. And
why would he do this?
Yes. And so to love these, listen, y'all, when people accept you into their family and open their doors, you don't take that type of stuff for granted. And when I mentioned this in the beginning, when I met them, they were coming out of a tragic situation. They were leaving Katrina. And to know how they got to my home city, Chattanooga, from Katrina, and understanding how they were literally on the roof of their home for a couple of days because of the water. Y'all listen, it's a story. And we've been like this ever since. And they welcomed me into their family and took me in as their godson. And listen, my Baba Kenyatta, my dad, yep. And they have been a family that chose me. And I just wanted to that, and my auntie
trying to make me cry.
No,
he ain't gonna get
no.
it. I ain't gonna do it. Both of these two trying to make me cry. I'm not gonna do it.
My auntie Deborah, she's been gone with us now for 2 years. Yeah, and so just to light y'all, and so today this show was special to me because it's doing Mardi Gras. It's actually my first Mardi Gras. Yesterday was her birthday. We was out on the floats. Well, they was on the floats, and we was out in the parade. And it was special because the parade we went to was an all-black parade, and it was a beautiful experience. And so, yeah, I just want to dedicate this show to Auntie Deb and my Baba Kenyatta. Yeah.
Ooh, he made me sick, y'all. He really made me sick.
I had to. I told Dom knew.
Oh my God.
But I was like, it's perfect, and it's the moment. For this, and since I'm here and in this season, this is something Daddy would be doing. You know, Auntie probably be cutting up. Yeah, I can't be that baby, but shaking for me, get some beans with.
Let me tell you, them two can cut up too. And I grew in hour.
I talked to my other T this morning, say, you get your some beans, baby? I said, I sure did, T. So, you know, I just wanted to dedicate this show to them because they were very near dear and still are very near dear to my heart. And I want to thank you for choosing me to be a part of your family. As y'all know, we do Robe Chronicles at home, y'all. This is real life shit. Somebody alarm going off. So if you hear it,
I don't know.
Listen,
because I'm calling my moment.
But y'all listen, again, my wonderful godmother, Mama Z, aka Miss Darlene Simon. Hit her up on Facebook. But this has been another Robe Chronicles. If you listen, happy Mardi Gras.
Happy Mardi Gras, y'all.
We're going out to a thing tonight to catch some more bees.
Eat some food, eat some cobalt.
Hey.
Let's go again.
Hey. All right, y'all. We will see y'all next Tuesday.